everybody. So it's 2014, and I don't know about your past year, but mine was a little hard. It was good times, but also hard times. And I wanted to share with you a story, a really encouraging word that God gave me back in December concerning this new year, 2014. And it's found in Genesis chapter 31, and I'll be reading from the New International Version of the Bible, starting from verse 41. Just before I start, I'll give you a little bit of a context to the story. So we all know Jacob. He falls in love with Rachel and has to work in total 14 years to gain her as a wife. And then he also works 6 years for Laban, her father, to gain the flock. And God really prospers him during this time. And then God calls him back home to Canaan. And because of fear and because of how Laban treated Jacob, he really didn't want to let Laban know that he was going back home. So he escapes. He runs away without really confronting Laban. And so Laban finds out, and he pursues Jacob, and after 7 days he gets to him. And the night before the confrontation, God speaks to Laban saying, don't say anything good nor bad to Jacob. And so we pick up the story in verse 41, and Jacob is just kind of venting at Laban, saying, you mistreated me, and, I worked hard for you. So let me start in verse 41. It was like this for 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks. And you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But God has seen my hardship, the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you. Laban answered Jacob, the women are my daughters, the children are my children, the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have borne? Come now, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said to his relatives, gather some stones. They took stones and piled them in a heap. They ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar-Sahadutha, and Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. That is why it was called Galeed. It was also called the Mizpah because he said, may the God keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take any other wife beside my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me. Laban also said to Jacob, here is this heap, and here is this pillar that I have set between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and you will not go past this heap and pillar to my side and harm me. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor and the God of their father judge between us. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father, Isaac. And he offered a sacrifice there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. And this story really reminded me of how sometimes we want to run away from the things that God may be pointing in our lives that we need to confront and deal with. And when we confront those things, then we can truly go forward into what God has for us. I'm reminded what Paul said in Philippians chapter 3, how he forgot the past and he was reaching forward to what is ahead. And I want to encourage you that this year, in the new year that's here, let us press forward to the high calling of God, and let us reach forward to what God has ahead, that we may make an agreement, as this covenant between Jacob and Laban was, make an agreement that we will not live in the past, and we will not let the past state who we are today, but also not let the past dictate where we go in the future. And so I just encourage you to reach forward to what God has for this new year. God bless you.